We've built a monster. A drag race winning, 450 beating, arm stretching beast of a 500cc two-stroke. But how did we get here? This is the story of how we created Kong. This is how we turned a tired old enduro bike into a legitimate 500cc monster. First of all, let's rewind back to the beginning. Our mission for this project was to build the world's best fuel-injected 500cc two-stroke. We started out with a tired old Husqvarna TE300i enduro machine as our donor bike. And with help from my friends Sean Smith and Roland Shaw, we installed the BRC Racing TPI 500 conversion kit to turn our bike into a 500cc beast. And then, with help from our awesome sponsors 24MX and Putoline, we were able to make the bike look as good as it sounds as well. We knew that we had something special on our hands after the very first ride, but we weren't finished yet. At this time, BRC Racing were getting ready to release a new product that would convert a transfer port injection system into a throttle body injection system. This is the latest technology in the field and matches what KTM are doing with their modern two-strokes. And this TBI conversion kit from BRC isn't just for your 500 conversions. You can actually use this TBI conversion kit to turn your TPI KTM Husky or Gas 250 or 300 into a TBI bike. So you can use this TBI kit for your smaller capacity two-strokes as well. In our pursuit to build the world's best fuel-injected 500, we knew we had to go down this route. We were also keen to get back to using premix just to make things simpler in our two-stroke only garage. So this was the next step in the project after our first test ride. There's one more thing that we're going to do to finish this build, and the parts have arrived from Canada this week. Currently it's a TPI injection, right? Yeah. And we're going to turn it, BRC have done a kit to turn it into a TBI injection. So we'll do the TBI and then we'll get on track with a Y-Zilla versus Kong. I know everyone wants to see it, so that's going to be the plan next. But things weren't going to be quite as simple as we first thought. We were amongst the first people in the world to try out this TBI conversion kit. So there was a lot of learning to do along the way before we could name Kong a true monster. And that's what this video is all about.
So here we are today, we're going to fit the BRC throttle body. Now this is a TBI throttle body. This is a TPI, so as you know, it's injected into the barrel. This will then be injected into the throttle body. What they've also done as well is, I don't know if you can see, but the angle of the injectors will be at this angle, you know, so it's in the direction of flow of air. Riley at BRC says, you know, this is going to help stop the pooling that may occur, you know, in there. So it's going to be better throttle response. So all in all, a pretty trick bit of engineering that we're going to pop on and see what happens. Also, by fitting the TBI, you can have a better throttle response. It's going to be a premix, so a lot better for motocross is what we're going to use it for. You know, as it lubes the engine a lot better, because obviously we know with the premix, the oil's already mixed in with the fuel. Right, so we're just going to pull this throttle body off now and get it out. There it is. So you can see the difference there. What they've done is, so this is the TBI, so this is now a 43mm. That's the old TPI, and that's a 39mm. So you can see the difference, which will give it 2 more brake horsepower, better throttle response. It's all good. We're just going to change all these bits over now, put it back together. So we've stripped the old throttle body with all the components. We're now ready to put into the BRC throttle body. We just have to make a quick modification just to this, which is the butterfly arm, which opens and closes the throttle basically. Because it's gone to a 43mm, it's a bigger butterfly, so we just need to have to make a modification to this so that can slip in. So we've just got this back together now, so the butterfly's in. Nice seal there. Like I said, we just had to make a modification to the arm just so it accepts that bigger butterfly. It's all working nice and smooth. Just got a couple of last bits to put in, and then we can start fitting the injectors. So we've just removed the injectors out of the barrel, and now we're going to just put the little blankers in. So these basically go where the injectors were in the barrel, so just pop that in there, and then we'll tighten it up. Yeah, lovely job. So just want to give a shout out to TSP, Two Stroke Performance, for this little dongle, this little fancy thing here. So this is a auto lube delete. So basically what it does is you plug it into the loom, what went to the oil pump, and it sort of tricks the ECU into thinking that the pump is still working, it's still auto lube, so you don't get no engine management light or nothing come up on the dash. So handy little bit of kit this, it's perfect. We just put the injectors into the new throttle body. If you notice the angle of the injectors now, run at this angle. On the original throttle body they were more vertical, but apparently, so running them like this, as you can see they come through here, just stops them pooling. Also when the butterfly opens like that, you can see they're quite clear of the butterfly, so again stops any pooling. So yeah, quite neat. Just want to say a massive thanks to Gear 4 Motorcycles. They've just helped us out massively. So the throttle body that we've been sent is for a 2020 model, and it's slightly different from the earlier previous models. This is an 18, so it had the older style throttle body on it, and the issues was the cold start. If you can see, they're two different ones. This is the 2020, this is the 18, and then just the mixture screw as well is slightly different. So again, 2020, 18. So yeah, sorted, all done. Right, so it's all back together. The TBI is done, the conversion, so everything's been done, checked and double checked. So now we're going to kick it over and hopefully she'll run. So when we had the graphics done, we left a little space just here for something special. I'll pop it on.
So here I am with Kong in its final form. Since you last saw us on track with this fuel injected 500cc two-stroke, we've made one more upgrade. I'm going to tell you all about that in this video, and then we're going to hit the track to see how those changes affect the performance. Let's do it.
I remember when I was cut down to nothing. Didn't ever think I'd find my way.
We came into the BRC shootout versus the YZilla 500 cocksure and confident that the TBI conversion would have given us a few more ponies on Kong. But looking back now, we were probably a little naive. We should have seen the potential problems or issues with fueling before we ever hit the track for this shootout. But time was against us and we just wanted to get the test done. But hey, we had these two awesome bikes in the garage and we were just high on life and two-stroke fumes at the time. So here I am on board Kong at Greenfield MX. This is the first time I've ridden our fuel-injected 500cc two-stroke since we swapped out the old TPI system for this high-tech brand new TBI system. Which in theory improves our throttle response, improve our reliability, and give us a few more ponies. So we're going to put those theories to the test today. Me and Sean are going to test out the bike, and I'll let you know our findings. Don't get me wrong, Kong was still a beast on this test, and Sean rode the absolute wheels off her. But we both felt that the power delivery wasn't quite as sharp as our first initial test ride with the TPI system. We thought that the auto loop delete and a simple reflash to the ECU would be enough to ensure that she'd be running sweet. But this was all pretty experimental at the time. We were the first to do it, and after this test we knew that there was some development work to be done. The Yzilla won the BRC shootout, but only narrowly. So Kong was a good bike, but we knew she could be great. So in regards to power delivery and performance on track, we know there is actually some fine tuning to do with Kong. We've had the Yamaha Yzilla for 6-7 months now, I think, since the end of last year, November last year we got it started. So we've had some decent time to dial that in, and that is perfect now, I would say, running prime. Kong, on the other hand, we've ridden it once on track, and then we've now, in between then and now, we've done that throttle body conversion, TBI conversion. We know there's a bit of fine tuning to do with that. You felt it was detonating a bit.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
The throttle body's gone from a 39mm to a 43mm. So obviously there's a lot more volume going into the cylinder, which is obviously causing detonation, possibly running lean, and the timing maybe just a little bit too far advanced for the volume that's going in there. But it's something that can be addressed. It's another send off for the ECU.
In order to speed up the testing and development process, we loaded Kong in the van and headed over to deepest Wales to meet up with Brad from Rutherford Racing. He's one of the country's top experts in two-stroke tuning, and more specifically fuel-injected two-stroke tuning. So he was the perfect man to help us cure our fueling headaches. So I'm sat here with Brad from Rutherford Racing, who's going to be working on Kong today, getting us set up right, because we're running a little bit lean at the moment. And Brad's got this fancy new piece of tech here from Two Stroke Performance. Firstly, Brad, Rutherford Racing, you're the UK importer agent for TSP Two Stroke Performance.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
And this is a new product from those guys over in Australia. Just tell us about what you've got here in your hands.
So this little unit allows you to tune the KTM Group TBI and TPI bikes. What it does is it connects to your ECU, sits on your handlebar, and allows you to increase fueling, take away fueling.
So you see a readout on this screen here.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. So that's its primary function really, is to, change your fueling and ignition and oil.
On the go.
Yeah, well, sort of on the go, yeah.
Well,
I mean, you
can
can
see it on
stop
the go,
and then,
stop.
make the changes and then go, and you can change either map. Secondarily, it's an OBD tool, so you can clear fault codes, you can look at all of the sensors, what they're doing, your RPMs, temperature, all of that stuff. So it's really cool, really easy to use. It's got a wee mount where it sits on your handlebar, cable tied on, connected into the OBD port behind the headlight, and go for it, yeah.
For us today then with our bike, what's the plan? What do you think we need to do to get us running right?
So by the sound of this bike, running a bit lean, so we're going to go 20% fuel, extra fuel throughout the matrix. So the way that these work, and we'll flash a picture up there, but you'll be able to choose on an RPM to throttle opening, and then you just add fuel or take away fuel where you want to. So for this one, we're just going to go blanket 20%, see how it rides, and then we'll start targeting the sort of upper left part of the map.
Yeah, because we've got those readouts, we can see exactly what we need to do, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. That'll give us some use, but for this particular type of tuning, we're going to be seat of the pants, really. That feels good, make a change, that feels better, that feels worse type of thing, and then, just go for do it that way, yeah. How you'd traditionally, tune a carburetted bike, really. Chuck a jet in it, see what it's like, yeah.
So this thing, the ERM, that stands for?
ECU Reflash Module.
And that took David from TSP quite a few years to develop, right? Because it's the only one of these things that currently exist,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's taken a huge amount of development. We've finally got there, and TPI bikes, one of the big complaints about them was that you're unable to touch the tuning, and from factory they run not particularly well. So your only other option really is to send your ECU in and get a tune from TSP or whoever, and then that's what you're stuck with. You can't change anything if you want to. So some people like them running a bit richer from the bottom, or behaving in particular ways, and you can't do that really. Whereas with the old carburetor bikes, you could do that. You could jet it how you wanted. So this sort of gives you that control really. It's be a bit of a game changer. Yeah.
We was joking earlier, but it might well be the best invention for two-stroke since the knobbly tyre, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
So if you want to find out more about the ERM, I've got some links in the description down below. I've also put a link to the promo video, which explains it very well, why this product is so cool. So just check out the description for those details. Okay, so it's worth mentioning as well that we turned up today and we found out that our bike Kong, which is was a 2018 Husqvarna 300 TE300i, actually has a slightly different OBD port to the more modern bikes. So what we've done is borrowed Grant from Jarvis Tours Wales. This is his bike, the more modern bike. We borrowed that just so we can flash our Kong ECU on his bike and then put it back onto ours, because this bike has the correct OBD port that fits the ERM tool from TSP.
Okay, so we've added 20% extra fuel throughout the map, and that's because the BRC throttle body flows about 20% more air. So now what we're going to do is we're going to save that to a map, and then we flash that onto the ECU by pressing that. Flashes it on, and then we connect it up and go and see what she's like.
What's your thoughts, Brad?
Probably, it's got stacks more power and it revs out. Wide open throttle's probably fine, but part throttle would need a bit of work. Maybe we'll lean it off a little bit. Maybe we'll go down about a few percent on the light throttle, I think. Yeah. Right. So in the second one, we went 5% down in fuel on the first part of the map. Felt a bit better, but not quite right. So we went a few more percent. I think we were about 12% plus fuel. So we started with 20. Went to 15 or so, now we're at 12, and just come in, running mint from the bottom. Probably could be leaner up the top and make even more power, but when it's making something like 60, 70 horsepower, it doesn't really matter. We just want it nice and safe and wide open, and it makes stacks of grunt, and it's much nicer from the bottom and part throttle. So yeah, quite happy with it now. It could do with a bit of fine tuning, but I think we're pretty much there.
Okay, so I'm here in southern Wales. I just completed a little tuning session with Brad from Greenfield Racing, the UK agents for two-stroke performance. Brad set the bike up for us here, made some tweaks, that new device from TSP, and Kong is now running sweet. After that, TBI conversion, running like a dream. Kong is feeling good, healthy, her power's nice and crisp. I've got the confidence that she is set up right now for this TBI conversion. She's not going to be running too lean, risk of damaging the engine. She's running right, which means we can go racing, drag racing, next time out against the Megalon 700 and the Wyzilla. That's coming next here on 999 Laser. So, the first real test for Kong after Brad had worked his magic was our 2023 Big Bore Olympics event. And my God, what a difference. Kong was now a true monster. drag races against the Yzilla and the Megalodon 700, Kong was just a force that could not be stopped. If you were able to get out of the gates clean, there was just no beating this beast. We were now pretty confident that we had the world's best fuel-injected 500 in our arsenal. And we were also pretty confident that she could take on any challenger. VIP Motocross hosted our final and most challenging test for Kong. We'd be putting the bike head-to-head against a 450 race machine with MX1 Pro Tom Grimshaw behind the bars. And as well as the TBI conversion, we made a few more final upgrades to well and truly complete the project. Okay, so it's been a little while since our last development update on Kong here, our fuel-injected 500. You've seen the bike in action a few times actually. We had the BRC shootout at Greenfield. We had the drag race at Dan's farm, which obviously was really good. And you've already seen what we've shot here today with Tom Grimshaw putting this up against his 450 race bike. If you don't know, Sean is the man that put loads of hours, loads of graft into building this machine alongside us. And usually Sean's our regular test rider, but just tell us why you're not quite fit and healthy enough to ride this for us today.
Yeah, Fox Hills, first lap, first race, 21-year-old brain. Yeah, just thought
35-year-old bike.
Yeah, just thought I could double, triple that downhill, and I didn't make it.
Yeah,
so
I'll cut to the clip right now.
Yeah,
it was a pretty savage crash, to be fair.
It was, yeah.
We was worried about you for a little bit. You did red flag the race, and I sprinted across the entire length of Fox Hill Valley to come and see if you was all right.
Well, I was asleep.
Yeah. So. By the time I got there, you was awake, and everyone was all right. So that's why Sean's not riding today. Right, he's a bit banged up still. So injuries. We have drafted in Tom to put this up against his 450, but you guys have already seen that, and this video is all about the updates that we haven't talked about. So let's reverse time a little bit. The last time we really went in depth about the bike and what we've done was actually the first test ride at our regular test facility. Back then it was still a TPI bike machine, wasn't it?
Yeah. The first ride on it, obviously it was still a TPI. Yep. So it was running the 39mm throttle body. Then we got the conversion to make it into a TBI.
Yeah, from Riley at BRC.
Yeah, from BRC. And then that took it to a 43mm. But then what it did, by doing that, obviously it increased the volume of air and fuel mixture that went into the engine by 20%. So when we rode it again...
At Greenfield?
Yeah, it wasn't quite running how we wanted it.
No.
So I think the guys from Rutherford Racing
over in Wales, we went to see them. Me and Phil went over. He's the UK importer distributor for Two Stroke Performance, which is an Australian company who have just developed this special little gadget here, which enables us to plug it into the KTM group bikes, the Huskies, Gas KTMs, and we can adjust the fuel.
Yeah. Basically, that plugs into the wiring loom, and then you can set your parameters. You know, I can honestly say it's an amazing bit of kit. It's literally plug and play. Increased everything by 20%, and then it was just a completely different bike. It is literally out of this world. Yeah, we've done the drag race, didn't we? And you know, I was absolutely amazed how it was. It just felt incredible. Yeah.
And today's the first time it's been on track, so
yeah, and
we're excited to see that.
Tom's the guinea pig. Thank God.
The next thing that you really wanted to sort out was the suspension, and that's kind of what's been taking us all summer long to get right, just getting the right stuff from our friends at WP UK, and then we took that stuff to another friend, Stuart Holland from SHMX, and he installed that for us. But just tell the viewers what we've got in there now.
So before, obviously this is an enduro bike and enduro suspension, and it wasn't that bad until we went to Greenfield. I think that's where it was like, it was at its worst, should I say. Basically the guys from WP sent us some cartridge forks, so they're now spring and oil. Sent us everything to basically convert these forks. Now these forks are out of an SX 2019. Yeah. So they're not the enduro forks, they are out of an
Motocross
SX.
Forks,
motocross forks. but they've had the conversion, you know, with everything inside to do the job. Yeah, I think the shot was, yeah, it's revalved. Didn't go for the big bladder, just, you know, because, I mean, that's each to their own.
Yeah,
you know.
Stuart just kind of serviced it, revalved it, and set it so we're good to go for the motocross track.
Yeah.
The springs front and back are stiffer as well.
Yeah.
For better experience on the motocross track.
Yeah.
And it's worth mentioning that cartridge kit that we got in there, the WP cartridge kit. We actually did a video earlier in the year at this track with Josh Spinks, where we went from stock to the cartridge stuff, and he was quicker with the cartridge stuff in there. So we know that's a good setup to have, and yeah, I'm glad we've got it in the bike now, and it should all be perfect, the ultimate motocross weapon, especially now that we've got the stopping power improved somewhat as well.
Yeah, so big disc on the front.
Yeah, because that was one thing that you was after, was more stopping power, and after my close call at the Big Boar Olympics where I nearly went into the bushes, it was something I was looking for as well. So our sponsors 24MX have hooked us up with that oversized braking front disc there, and you can actually get discounts on products like that and a load of other stuff on 24MX website. If you use our code 999laser, you'll get 15% off. That's about it, I think, for upgrades on Kong since we last went in depth about it, and it's an absolute weapon now. It's been an awesome series to do, hasn't it? An awesome build. We've had loads of fun thanks to all of your help getting it done, to Roland Shaw from Hardcore Racing as well for his help on the project, getting that BRC motor installed. I think all that's left to do now is just send it. That's Tom's job today, but then someone's got to race this thing at some point, so I'll let these two fight about that.
Yeah.
Who's doing it first?
We'll
win. See. Let's send it. Let's send Kong out there. Let's have some fun. To the delight of two-stroke fans everywhere, Kong beat the 450, and we could be confident that we'd built the ultimate motocross weapon. But we simply couldn't have done it without the help of Roland Shaw and Sean Smith, and of course Brad from Rutherford Racing and David from Two Stroke Performance. A huge shout out also goes to Riley and the BRC crew for all of their help and support throughout the project. I have to say a big thank you to 24MX for helping us out with plastics and parts, to Putoline Oils for always keeping her looking clean and fresh and lubed with the best oils in the game. And finally, a huge thank you to our friends at WP Suspension UK and to Stuart Holland from SHMX for solving our suspension headaches. We now think that Kong is king, but I guess that has to be proven once and for all on the racetrack. My name's Max, you've been watching 999 Laser. If you've enjoyed this project and you want to see more like it in the future, be sure to subscribe to the channel. But until next time, I'll see you at the track.